Okay, so now I found an example where the retrace requirement is met. So first trade of the day, our start bar is the very first bar. Our measuring tool for PTD1 is used. Our criteria is met here. This is the high point, and we draw our trend line like that. Okay, that trend line gives us that. We get a two higher breaks like that. We get our entry. Take our measuring tool for our target, it's not met. Our measuring tool for our stop is met here, and we are stopped out of that trade. So I'll mark it as a bad trade. Then, because we no longer need this tool as it was only used in our first trade, once we got our entry, we mark this as our start bar. There it is. And then we use the PTD2 to find out for the next trade. We no longer need that, at least for now. Then this becomes our point 1 here once this criteria is met, and then we can now have permission to draw our trend line. However, the second condition has not been met, which is when we have the second trade in the same direction as the previous trade, we need a retrace of the new low by the retrace amount, and that does not happen when we meet our PTD2 criteria. It happens over here. Excuse me. So at only this point here, we met that criteria of the retrace. So that is when we can draw our line. That is when both conditions have met. Those both conditions being meaning the PTD and the retrace. So once those are met, we can draw our trend line like that. And of course, that gives us our entry. And that too is a bad trade, so we get stopped out because our target's not met. Rather, we're stopped out the next day. And then we go on to the next day. And I'm just going to go on to the next day. The next day, we take out our yellow tool. I'm going to zoom in, and there we go. So this is the next day. We don't need that white PTD. The threshold is met here, so we can, again, start bar is the same as the high bar. There's our downward sloping line. At the time our redraw tool is not, requirements are not met, we have one break lower. We eventually get an entry of two higher breaks. There is our entry point, and it looks like we are probably going to be stopped out there. Yes, we stopped out all the way over here. So that would be the bad trade there. Once we've entered that trade, so our market is bad. First trade is no good. And then once the trade is made, we look to see if we can mark the criteria for the second trade, and that does not happen, so no trade. And that's basically it. Looks like on that day there's no trade at all. Okay, none of the criteria met. And perhaps even the next day after that. Yep, nothing there. On this day, obviously a trade is met. We probably get a short entry in there, and it could be interesting. This would be a good day to look at for multiple trades. But anyway, there it is. That should give you an idea.